St. Tammany Parish Council members hire an attorney as they battle with Parish President Mike Cooper over a planned apartment complex. The council first launched an investigation into Cooper and then last night voted to hire attorney Ross Lagarde. Council members saying it's a conflict of interest to use the district attorney's office for representation, while Cooper argues the DA's office could in fact represent the council and save the parish thousands of dollars. Conflict stems from a proposed apartment complex on the edge of Covington that council members say flew under their radar, with no one from the Cooper administration letting them know of the plans. Councilman David Fitzgerald says he had to file a public records request just to get info on the project. Mike Cooper says he's met one-on-one with Fitzgerald to provide pertinent information, but Fitzgerald stands by the council's decision to launch an investigation and hire its own attorney to sort through the issue.
I met with him again, this time including directors of the departments that are involved with this project in reviewing plans, and we answered questions and provided information at that time before the meeting, and I asked them again to consider not calling for a formal investigation, which I feel is extreme, but again, they did not consider that.
Highly unusual, irregular, unique, that no one would know of a project of this magnitude with a construction start date within, a month of the first meeting.
With the legal wrangling, the project, which was originally slated to begin construction next month, is now on hold. Fitzgerald couldn't say how much it'll cost to pay the outside attorney.